Let me introduce myself. My name is Phillip Allsopp. I am the recently appointed Sales Director in Hunt and Harris Real Estate. I was previously the Sales and Leasing Manager, and literally as of today just promoted to Sales Director, so very happy with that. I've been in the real estate industry now in the UAE for just under 5 years. It will be 5 years at the end of this month. And before that, I have a background in the social sector of real estate in the UK, plus the actual private sector as well, from a background of property management. I moved here for a new challenge to live in this beautiful country that we call the UAE, and for all the exciting opportunities that brings with it. Many people ask me why I moved to the UAE, and in particular Ras Al Khaimah. Many of my family and friends back home have asked me this question. There's a number of reasons for myself why I moved to the UAE and to RAK. One of them is my love of property. I moved originally to the UAE as really a bit of sort of luck or fluke, as you may call it. I ran into one of my friends and he happened to actually be working in the UAE in a company in Dubai. I spoke to him, I handed my CV in, and I moved a week later after I had the interview, having not originally really planned the move to UAE a long time in advance. The reason I moved as well was, like I said, because of the love of property. I got a new opportunity to go into a sales role in the exciting place of Dubai. And with that, it gave me an opportunity to have untapped commission, to earn a substantial amount or to try and build my savings, which was my ultimate goal, to then go home at some point or another to buy my first property in the UK. So I said at the time that I would be here for 1 year, and 5 years later I'm still in the UAE. 3 years into my career in the UAE, I moved to Ras Al Khaimah, which, to be honest, I feel is more like back home for me. I come from a small town of Belfast, and Ras Al Khaimah feels very like Belfast for me, although we get much better weather here. There's lots to do here in terms of the beaches, in terms of the outdoor activities, the mountains of Jebel Jais. You've got lots of facilities for kayaking, cycling, and I'm quite keen and interested in all those sorts of activities, especially because they're not really things that you get to do as much back in Ireland, with about 1 day of summer a year. So it's a great place to be here, and with tax-free as well. There's lots of benefits with that, and it enables you to, I feel, build up a level of savings here also for future investments and things that you wouldn't get elsewhere, especially in the likes of the UK with the tax that they currently have for residents. So there's lots of different benefits which I will cover later on in the interview as well. Many people ask me, do myself and my newly wife enjoy living in Ras Al Khaimah? And the answer is yes, we both do. We had, like I say, lived together in Dubai for 3 years before moving to RAK. And that was our first time really living together, even compared to back home as well. So when we finally moved here, we moved from a 1-bedroom apartment in Dubai to a 2-bedroom townhouse. So we got the benefits of a garden in the house that we could then have a barbecue, have friends around, entertain. We managed to get a spare bedroom then that we could have family to come and stay with us, that we didn't have that luxury in Dubai. And we actually got that for a lower price in rent than what we paid for our 1-bedroom in Dubai. We paid for 55,000 a year for rent in our 2-bedroom townhouse in Al Hamra village, whereas our 1-bedroom apartment in Dubai Marina, which was great and the location was great, was 62,000 dirhams. So I have to say there's a lot of benefits of Ras Al Khaimah in the ability to really increase the quality of your own life. With that townhouse in Al Hamra where we lived and where I also work, and we both work and enjoy, we also got additional benefits like the 18-hole championship golf course, the lagoon, which I bought a kayak a few weeks back and went and kayaked on as well. So there's lots of different things that you can do there. There's gyms, there's walking paths, trails. You've got the Al Khaimah cellars as well, which you don't really have the same price in Dubai. It's much more expensive for the alcohol, and coming from Ireland, obviously that's something that we're definitely interested in. For my wife as well, she actually moved to Ras Al Khaimah with myself. So she moved to Dubai originally for myself and the opportunity that I received in Dubai, and then again we followed that same trend in moving to RAK. But with that, then I managed to encourage her to pursue a career in the same industry as myself, and she now works for Hunt & Harris as a listing agent as well, which is something that can be challenging for some couples, but we have definitely enjoyed it. So I would say that Sarah, my wife, and myself, we really enjoy RAK because of, again, what it's given to us. It's made it feel a lot more homely living in the UAE, living in a townhouse, which we lived in back in the UK. And with all of the amenities that Ras Al Khaimah has and the beautiful beaches that it has here, plus a career move and promotion for myself, plus for Sarah, a completely different change in sector and a new challenge, it gave us something to look forward to every day. Many people ask me, why would you like to invest in RAK, or why is RAK a good place to purchase a property and make it your home? And there's many reasons for this. We'll also go through some of the demographics and the sort of people that are buying and living here. Generally, RAK itself, I would say, is a very mixed area. It's got lots of different people from all backgrounds in life, all different nationalities, and many that have also made the move from Dubai. And the reason for that, like I said, is the cost-effective nature of it. It's the ability to improve your quality of life, plus the opportunity that Ras Al Khaimah brings with that. And for me, Ras Al Khaimah is a bit of a hidden gem in that many of the price points in the market are still much lower than other Emirates. And in comparison, you actually have a larger and longer beach line here than you do in any of the other Emirates. So there's a lot of benefits really that come with Ras Al Khaimah. In terms of price point, it's very, very difficult, for example, in Dubai to get a property that is a beachfront unit with sea views, for example, with your swimming pools and gym amenities at a price of under 1,000 dirhams per square foot. And that is the reality in Ras Al Khaimah, that you can do that in many of the key master communities like Al Hamra Village, Mina Al Arab, or recently renamed Mina only. And with that, that encourages a lot of not only foreign investment, but people coming from other Emirates due to that attractive price point. A lot of people also, when they come here, they experience a relaxing feeling. And it's quite, I would say, unique to Ras Al Khaimah in the UAE, that when people come out of Dubai, which is very built up, it has a lot of high-rise buildings, and they come here and you're staying in a property that's right beside the beach, or golf courses, or swimming pools. It's very attractive, and you feel like you're on a holiday itself. So I feel that a lot of people purchase either a holiday home here, or they have it as an investment mainly. We are seeing more end users creeping in now, especially people, like I said, that maybe couldn't own their own home in Dubai because of the price point there, that we're seeing more end users that are coming up here and buying to live in as well. Even people that will travel to other Emirates on a daily basis for work because of the attractive pricing. But with that, we're seeing a lot more international investors with all of the hype and the excitement around Ras Al Khaimah in regards to the Wynn, obviously, resorts that is upcoming, which will have the first gaming facility, not only in the UAE, but the whole of the GCC, plus the exciting developments that are coming up to Marjan, which is going to be inspired by the likes of the Palm Jumeirah in Dubai, which is obviously a very, very successful area in Dubai, which has seen a massive capital appreciation over the years. There's about 30 new projects that are coming to Marjan Island alone, and with that, it creates a lot of opportunity for foreign overseas investment, especially for those people that maybe can't get a mortgage because they're non-resident. It provides a unique opportunity for that investment and to put your money in somewhere where the proposed projections for the Emirate are very, very exciting over the next few years. A question that I get asked a lot in real estate and in working for my company is, if I were to invest personally with my own savings, where would I invest in the UAE? And I think it's a question that it has a lot of parts to it. But one of the main things for me is that I would invest in RAK, and the reason being is because I feel that not only in a business perspective, but in a personal perspective, I am invested in the Emirate itself and the growth of the Emirate. I want to be a part of the growth over the next few years, and I want to have my own personal impact on that if I can. So for me, I've actually just invested in a property in Al Khaimah village. It's a rental investment, so it's already actually rented out, and basically that is to pay me essentially a supplementary income to then offset my costs or my own rent of my property. And the reason that I invested in that property in Al Khaimah is because of the excitement around the Emirate, and not only some of the developers that have come here and the foreign investment that's coming here, but it's also people that have taken that on board in the Emirate, and they have personally invested themselves. For example, the likes of one of the large projects that's coming to Marjan Island, you have Nikki Beach and Ras Al Bay. Nikki Beach and Ras Al are going to be built and developed by Aldar. Aldar is one of the biggest developers in Abu Dhabi. In fact, it is the biggest developer in Abu Dhabi. I believe they have around an 85% share in all of the developments built in Abu Dhabi are constructed by Aldar. And for that size of developer to come and invest in the Emirate of RAK or Ras Al Khaimah, it's very, very exciting and encouraging for the area here as a whole and for the potential growth in the future. Not only that developer, but you also have the likes of Emaar, who have basically launched one of their biggest brands here as well, which is the Address. So the Address will be developed here over the next few years, along with brands such as Nobu. You've also got Ellington, who have lots of projects in Dubai, and again have a very good quality of finished product, along with RAK Properties, who are also a governmental organisation, and Al Khaimah as well, that obviously have quite high level owners and investors. So there's lots of exciting and large companies that have invested in the Emirate, not to mention the likes of the crypto free zone, which they have implemented here as well, plus with the likes of the wind that is coming here, and you can see the construction. If you drive into RAK, it's the first thing that you'll see as you come down that main road. They are, I believe, around halfway through the actual vertical structure of the building, and that is going to create a massive rise on the economy as a whole in RAK. They have tried and tested, and they've got physical stats for their other developments in the likes of Macau and Singapore and Vegas, and the overall effect that that had on the economy itself, pricing of residential units, and overall tourism and demand for that area. One key stat for me, and one of the reasons why I invested as well in with my own savings in the Emirate, is because there's going to be a 45,000 residential unit demand by 2030. And they anticipate, in terms of hotel keys, that they will need 6,000 to 7,000 hotel keys by 2030 to cope with the demand of tourism in this Emirate. There's also been a record-breaking level of tourism last year in the Emirate, with around, I believe, 1.3 million tourists. And previously the population of RAK was around 400 to 450,000, so you can see the impact that will have on the economy here. They anticipate by 2030 that they'll have around 5.5 million tourists per year here. So very, very exciting news from Win, and like I said, it is tried and tested stats from their other developments elsewhere around the world. A lot of people ask me what the buying process looks like in real estate in the UAE, and also, like I said, more particularly Ras Al Khaimah. Ras Al Khaimah is slightly different to some of the other Emirates. So for example, in Dubai, you have a Form A, a Form B and a Form F. In Ras Al Khaimah, you don't have those forms. They are through the DLD system in Dubai. In Ras Al Khaimah, it is a MOU, or as we like to call it, an agreement of sale. With that, basically, there will be a number of terms and conditions, which I'll not go into them all today, but they're there to protect you as a client. And obviously, the real estate broker themselves can advise you on all of those terms and conditions to make sure that you understand them. It's very important to obviously understand that contract completely. If you're unsure about that, I would recommend taking it to a lawyer who can talk you through those as well, if you want a second opinion on that. Very important to work with a real estate company that puts the right conditions in that contract that protects you as a client. And some of the I would say maybe pitfalls that you will find or come across, or the important things for yourselves. If you're buying with a mortgage, for example, you would need to have a valuation clause in that contract. So that means that that's the level that the property would have to value at. So if you're taking a property at 1 million dirhams, for example, it's your acceptable amount that you can pay or top up the mortgage if the property was to come at a value lower than that price. So if that basically risk for yourself essentially, or that amount for you to pay is zero, then it would need to value at the million. If you're comfortable with paying 100,000, then it would have a 10% down valuation clause. Obviously that clause is very important, because if it was to down value, for example, then you can take back your checks and look for a different unit or dispute that valuation if necessary. Another clause that might be of interest is the likes of the final offer letter clause. This protects you as a client, again, if you cannot get your pre-approval for whatever reason, or you cannot get the valuation because that property down values, or for whatever reason the bank rejects your finance at the end stage, which is the final offer letter stage. So very important to have that, so that obviously if the bank cannot give you the finance, you can take back your deposit, and you're not obligated to continue with a sale for a property you can't get a mortgage for. So there's a number of different clauses, which I'll not cover them all today, but there's some things definitely to look out for as a buyer. Another thing definitely to be conscious of is obviously the down payment or deposit for a property. In the UAE, as a standard, it's 20% deposit for a property, or down payment as some people call them, unless you're purchasing a second or third property and you already have a pre-existing mortgage. In that case, you're going to have to pay 40%, and that is on that basis, whether you buy a second, third, fourth, it's 40% down payment for each of those. So that's one thing definitely to consider. Another thing, and what I experience on quite a regular basis, is people making the actual payments for the property and how they do that. Obviously, if it's a mortgage, the bank will bring the manager checks, which a manager check is drafted from the bank itself. Your money is actually on that check, so it's not like a personal check, which many people ask or are unsure what a manager's check is. So there's many different things to note. Another thing to be very sort of wary of yourself is whether the seller themselves has a UAE bank account or not. And this is important again if you're buying a property with a mortgage, because I actually had a client myself and basically that seller did not have a UAE bank account, but the buyer was buying the property with a mortgage. So what we had to do in that instance was we brought the manager's check, or the bank brought the manager's check to the land department. We did the transfer of the property, and then that check was then taken to the bank. The check was cancelled, and then it was transferred to the bank themselves, transferred that money to the seller's account in the UK. So it's important to know that up front, to make sure that you have the right steps in the process, and they're done correctly, to make sure that your transfer is done correctly and you get the property that you want as a buyer. Again, also, if for example you're a buyer and you don't have a UAE bank account, then, and you're non-resident, for example, it's important to make that clear at the outset, so that that sale contract can be drafted to ensure that you are protected through the process, and that you have the right process in place to be able to pay the seller their sales proceeds. So there's a couple of different methods for this. Either you have a power of attorney here, and that power of attorney takes your money, or you transfer it to that power of attorney, and then they would issue a manager's check for you. But obviously that needs to be someone that you have complete trust in, because essentially you're transferring your hard-earned money to them, and they're handling that for you. Another method is Forex, or foreign exchange company, and we have a number of these companies, the likes of Agility Forex or Swifex, and basically you would transfer money into that account. It goes into our own name, for example, if it was with ourselves, and then we manage that. So once the actual transfer is done and the title deed is issued, only then will your funds be released to the seller, when that title deed is issued and the correct documentation has been provided to our company owner to initiate that transaction. So that's again a useful tool that I believe is specific to our company, but you may find that elsewhere. And as I say, it's important to have those sorts of things written into your contracts. So I would recommend that if you're unsure, that you get it checked over by a lawyer. One thing that I get asked, or have been asked in the past by some of my clients, is regarding succession, or will handling, and for the transfer of ownership of the property to their children or their nominated person. I'm actually handling a case currently, and for that property we needed to basically transfer ownership from the husband to the wife and the kids. In that, the first point is that, and obviously it's a retrospective thing, but I would say that anyone that has a property in the UAE, I would recommend that they create a will for themselves for that property. Otherwise, it has to go through Sharia law and through the courts, and it can be a lengthy and time-consuming and costly process if they don't already have that will in place. If they have the will, it's much more straightforward. Now, the example that I'm currently dealing with, like I said, we had to basically go to the courts itself, confirm with the courts who that property was actually going to go to. In this case, obviously the wife and the children. And then myself and one of my colleagues, Mahmoud, had to go to the courts and act basically as a witness for this party to explain to the courts our relationship with the client, confirm some of the client's details like ages, where they're from, their kids' names, things like that, to ensure that we actually knew this person, we were working with this person, and we had been instructed to help them to change over the title deed into the kids' names. So we had to answer all of these questions. Once that was completed, they then issued a letter from the court. This has to be taken then to the land department by the person's power of attorney in this case, because the person wasn't actually, the wife and the children, they aren't actually based in the UAE. So they nominated a company that we work with called RAK Conveyancing, or RAK Dubai, and they then handled that process and acted as the power of attorney in this case. So they went to the courts with the court letter, and then they went to the land department with that court letter, who then issued a new title deed after obviously the fees were paid for the new title deed. And that took normally Well, for this one, it took around 3 to 4 weeks to issue the new title deed. It could take anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks, like I said. It just depends on the land department themselves and the volume of cases that they have coming through. But very important, like I said, if you own a property here, I would recommend putting a will in place first of all, and then it's a much faster and more straightforward process. The first value-added USP of Hunt & Harris is that we are one of the only companies in Ras Al Khaimah that has a dedicated listing agent. Now, a listing agent basically is someone that comes in and does a valuation for your property. Before even that, they will have a conversation with you on the phone to give you real-time information on market data. They will give you the last comparable transactions in the market, the current listings that we have online, and maybe some information on clients that we currently have available looking for a property like yours. They will basically list your property online after they've given you an accurate market valuation, and they will be focused solely on selling your property and highlighting your property to the rest of the team members and to as many brokers and companies as possible. The second value-added USP that Hunt & Harris have as a company is that we are the only real estate company in Ras Al Khaimah to have an in-house conveyancing consultant. Now, what conveyancing is, or some people call it sales progression in other Emirates like Dubai, it's basically a dedicated person that does all the paperwork and steps for you from the point of you sign the MOU to the agreement of sale to the actual transfer in the land department or in Ras Al Khaimah. The third value-added USP in Hunt & Harris is that we are one of the only companies that has a mentoring scheme. Now, this is something that we implemented into the company last year, and we did this to give a helping hand to any new team members that come into the company and are at the start of their real estate career. So it's generally for people that have not had any sort of real estate background in the UAE or elsewhere in the world. And what it basically means is we have someone that has been here for a number of years. They've got a lot of experience in the industry. They have a track record of closing transactions and having smooth processes with those transactions. And basically they are there to guide that new team member or member of staff through every single step of that real estate career. So they are there for the viewings, they're there for the actual calls to clients, to qualify clients, for the valuations of properties, and to show them how to accurately provide that valuation for a property. They're also there again to guide them through the transfer process and show them an understanding of that transfer process. Because even though we have an in-house conveyancing consultant, they need to know the transfer process to guide clients through that. They also help them with the likes of the rental transactions and all of the steps in between a tenant coming to inquire on a property or calling for a listing online to when they get their keys. So they're basically there, again, like the conveyancing consultant does with the clients. They're there to hold the hand essentially of that real estate agent and show them all the necessary tips that they wouldn't maybe get in an employee handbook or guidebook that we provide in our 2-week training program. The fourth value-added USP in Hunt & Harris is the level of referral partners that we have built over the period of time that we've been based in Ras Al Khaimah and part of the real estate industry. We have a background of over 17 years as a company, and over that time we have worked with many different companies and partners which we have agreements in place with to ensure that the customer is covered not only with their real estate needs but also everything that goes along with that. As I mentioned earlier, in the likes of anyone that is purchasing a property, I recommend that they have a will in place for that property. We have partners and lawyers that can put that in place for you. We also have currency exchange partners that I mentioned earlier that can assist with getting you the best rate possible to transfer funds here from abroad, and is particularly useful for any international clients. We have mortgage partners that can assist you and guide you on the best mortgage package that is currently available. They can guide you on the best rates in the market, the bank that is best for yourself, and some sort of useful tips like certain banks that will allow you to clear 30% of the mortgage per year at no additional cost. We also have companies that can help you with renovation. If you want to, for example, Airbnb a property, you might want to renovate the unit first of all to ensure that you maximize the income that you're getting. So we've got multiple companies like First Fix, for example, that can offer that service, along with annual maintenance packages to basically remove any of that hassle that you might have for arranging AC maintenance or any other associated maintenance with a rental investment property. Along with that, we also offer a property management service. So that means that we take on the hassle or headache, as some may call it, in dealing with some of the ins and outs of a tenancy, which include cashing rental checks. If you're, again, an overseas client, you may not have a UAE bank account, or the likes of arranging any maintenance in properties as well. We can liaise with all of that for you, along with managing those deposits, deposit returns, inventories, check-ins of the property, and all of those things that you may not want to have to deal with as a landlord. We manage that hassle for you, and at a cost of starting really from 8 dirhams it works out per day. It's a very cost-effective method, especially for those people that are busier in their day-to-day lives, and it would cost them more in their own time to use that time to handle these sorts of issues rather than leaving it to yourselves. So if you're in a quite a high-level job, which many of our clients are, many of them want to sort of farm that out to another company that can handle that hassle, and it will not take away from their day-to-day. Many people, whenever I'm conducting interviews, they would ask me, what is your advice to someone that is wanting to start a career in real estate? And some of the things that I would advise them is, one, move as soon as you can. The only regret that I really have is that I didn't move sooner. Two is that I would be open to all the opportunities that you can do. I would say yes to every sort of opportunity that presents yourself, hence I'm doing this interview today. And another thing is that I would make sure that you involve yourself with the community, with as many sort of activities as you can to get to know people in the general area, especially the area that you're going to be working in. If you can, I think it's always beneficial to live in the area that you're going to work in. So like I said, for myself, I work quite a lot in Al Khaimah. I lived in that area for the past 2 years in a type TC, and it helped me know the area and the community in a way that people that don't live in that community and are trying to maybe rent or sell in that community wouldn't know. So you can get a more in-depth understanding of the areas itself. Plus, when you're living there, you will meet your neighbours, you will meet connections at the golf course or the parks or the pools, and maybe if you have a family as well, obviously at the likes of Al Khaimah School, you might meet parents of other kids in the school as well, and you'll form relationships with these parents or families that will again help you, because these clients will have needs for real estate, whether it's buying or renting, or even if it's through a referral itself, because like I said, those referral partners that we've built over a long period of time, they can give you supplementary income. For an example, I had a mortgage referral to a company called Husby, and for that one mortgage referral or phone call essentially that I passed across, I made 1,900 dirhams in my pocket for essentially picking up the phone. But that was not the objective of that referral. The objective of that referral was to ensure that my client got the best mortgage that they could, and also ensure that they were fully supported by that person and they had a good contact to refer to that could guide them smoothly through the process. So as a new real estate broker, someone wanting to start, I would say engage with everyone you can. Use your own network that you have built back home or anywhere else in the world as well. And I would say that go and learn as much as you can. Learn from people that are longer in the industry than you are. Don't think that you're the smartest in the room. I would think that go in with an open mind into any conversation and look from the aspect of that every single person that you meet, you're going to learn something from that person. So I would say they're probably my advice that I would give to anyone wanting to start a career in real estate in the UAE.
It's a wrap.